Newlywed Jennifer is brutally attacked at a dark rest stop. Even after escaping, she isn't out of danger as her lover might be her attacker. A police detective who has also lost his daughter might be her only chance of survival. Welcome to Movie Recall. In today's video, we'll be going through the 2019 thriller film Secret Obsession. It's time to recall, let's get started, turn on subtitles, and spoilers ahead. The film opens with Jennifer being pursued by a guy with a knife on a stormy night. She runs to a phone booth when the man chasing her comes near. She gets out of the booth and keeps on running. Jennifer gets into a bathroom stall as the man follows her. He starts to check stall after stall, and just as he reaches Jennifer's stall, he kicks it open, only to find that Jennifer has escaped. She is then shown closing the shutter to the stall. Jennifer runs out and tries to start her car. The car starts, but she still can't manage to drive away. Meanwhile, the man from earlier has returned. Jennifer panics, but when she looks back, she sees that the man has linked her car to his truck via a tow cable and is the reason why the car isn't moving. So she gets out again and continues to run, but suddenly she is struck by a vehicle. The driver gets out and tries to shake her awake, but then tells one of his friends to call an ambulance. She is transported to the hospital where emergency room physicians battle for her life. As she is taken to the ICU, Jennifer sees flashbacks of her married life and sees the man from before with a knife. Her husband Russell comes in and learns she is in grave condition. Russell is told that she is in the ICU. As he rushes to her, the doctor tells him that he can't go in there. The doctors then prepare her for the surgery. Russell asks a nurse passing by whether she said anything about what happened, but the nurse tells him that Jennifer has a lot of internal bleeding and that it is possible that she won't even remember anything that happened. Russell continues to wait in the hospital lobby, and he is also seen playing with a lighter with his name engraved on it. He goes to sleep on the waiting room couch but is woken by a nurse in the morning. She tells him that Jennifer is out of surgery and he can go see her after she is moved to a room. Russell goes to her room, and as he lovingly strokes her head, he tells her that he isn't going anywhere and he's there for her. He even asks if she can hear her, but obviously gets no reply. An ominous man is shown looking through the glass of the hospital door, but he walks away. Detective Frank Page was shown buying a teddy for someone as a woman commented that she must be a lucky girl, but Frank gets a call and he drives to the hospital where Jennifer and Russell are located. He questions Russell about the night of the accident and seems to be suspicious of the entire situation. He says that Jennifer's car is missing and that he will start with the report on the car first. Frank then drives home and he is shown wrapping the stuffed toy for his daughter, but midway, he starts crying and it is revealed that Page's own daughter was taken many years ago and people even taunted him for not being able to find her. Jennifer ultimately wakes up with no recollection of anything. The doctor tells Russell about the situation and he doesn't seem to be pleased by it, but the doctors tell him that they will do everything possible to get Jennifer there. Russell is then taken to meet Jennifer, but when he tries to touch her, she recoils, and Russell understands, and instead of sitting next to her, he sits in a chair across the bed. Jennifer asks what happened and how she got here. Russell tells her about the accident. He then asks her if she remembers who she is, and she says she doesn't. Russell then promises her that he will help her in whatever way possible, but Jennifer says that she doesn't even know his name yet, and Russell then introduces himself. Meanwhile, Frank investigates the accident with other eyewitnesses from the night. One of the men tells him that there was a white pickup truck and that it was towing a vehicle, which the man says seemed strange to him. When Frank tells this to his friend, he says that the man should have said something earlier and that Frank is probably creating an issue out of nothing, as this is the week of his daughter's birthday. However, Frank decides to carry on as his friend tells him that if he wants to pursue the case, he should do it for all the right reasons. Meanwhile, in the hospital, Russell tells her about his job and about Jennifer's life. He brings her photos and tells her tales about her childhood, including the fact that her parents died in a fire a few years ago. Jennifer is heartbroken about this, and he apologizes for her loss. Jennifer then asks for a moment alone as she tries to wrap her head around all this new information. Later, the same man who had been looking through the hospital door comes back to the hospital, this time with some flowers. The doctors ask him about his identity, and he says that he is a concerned party, but the hospital staff doesn't let him see Jennifer, so he asks them to ensure that Jennifer gets the flowers. Russell observes all of this from the side. Jennifer eventually recovers sufficiently to be discharged. While she fills her discharge, the doctor tells her that she wants her to keep up with the memory games as it will help in her recovery. Russell then arrives with balloons and helps her get into his car. The moment Jennifer gets into the car, she receives a flashback from the night. Russell notices this and grabs her hand and tells her that they're going to get through this and that baby steps are the best option. He whisks her away to their magnificent mansion. Jennifer gets flashbacks about the night of the accident and the knife-wielding guy. Meanwhile, Russell says he wished she could remember their wedding night. He takes Jennifer to the garden. Jennifer says that it is so peaceful, and Russell replies that it better be since the nearest neighbor is almost a mile away. Then he tries to remind her what it felt like to have a drink while watching the sunset. Jennifer then asks about their bedroom, and as she gets up to walk up the stairs, Russell picks her up and carries her to the room. Jennifer still isn't sure about the things around her and seems a bit distraught. Russell receives a call from Detective Frank, and he reminds Russell about their conversation, and he talks about his investigation with the other drivers. He also invites Russell to come with Jennifer to the police station so that they can find out exactly what happened that night. Russell agrees to the call, but later that night, when Jennifer asks what the call was about, Russell tells her that it was a work call. Jennifer also learns that she has apparently left her job to move out here with Russell and that none of her friends live nearby. She then asks Russell about her phone, but he tells her that the police haven't been able to find it and he would just go and buy her a new one. When a strange individual contacts Jennifer about the incident, Russell tracks him down and murders him. He first asks the man the reason he contacted Jennifer. The guy asks why he would care. Russell says that he cares very much and then starts hitting the man. He manages to snap the man's neck and then takes the body to his home and buries it in the backyard. Jennifer wakes up from the noise and shouts for Russell for help, but then notices that it is Russell who is in the backyard. The next day at breakfast, she asks Russell whether he was up at night, and he says he was. All the while, Jennifer's eyes keep flitting to the spot where Russell had been digging earlier in the night. Detective Frank begins to suspect something is amiss, and he sees that a white pick is registered to the name Russell Williams. So he goes out to the hospital and asks the doctors for more information about what happened. The doctor tells him that if they see the new couple, they should ask them to get a follow-up appointment. As he is about to sit in the car, Frank notices that there are cameras in the parking lot. Jennifer becomes increasingly skeptical as she realizes she is locked upstairs since she is basically wheelchair-bound. She drags herself down the stairs, trying to awaken memories by looking about the home. While looking at a picture album, she notices a discrepancy in one of the pictures, something that doesn't sit right with her. She then starts poking around in the house, but while she is in the study, Russell comes back home and she acts like nothing is amiss. He also hands her a new phone, but the phone has no service. Meanwhile, the detective visits the address that Russell has given to the hospital and sees that the couple doesn't live there and it was the wrong address. Then he calls back to the station, and it turns out that most of the information was wrong and the entire situation just didn't sit right. That night, Russell tries to initiate sex with Jennifer, but when she recoils, he gets angry and tells her that he has waited for her for so long. Jennifer only replies that he is hurting her, so he leaves the bedroom and goes to his study where he uses a camera he has placed in the house to spy on her. The detective then calls the hospital and asks them to send over footage of a white pickup truck. The hospital then says that they are sending him the video. Frank then asks how Russell identified Jennifer. The staff says that he showed some family photos and identified a back tattoo. When the video comes over, Frank sees that Russell is pulling a con. The next morning, Russell brings some flowers over for Jennifer, and he says that he owes Jennifer an apology and whatever he said last night wasn't fair. Meanwhile, the detective visits a tattoo parlor and asks him to identify the tattoo. So the artists open the tattoo and say that it stands for Alan. The detective then puts Jennifer's name with Alan's and discovers that she shared a home with her parents. Detective Page eventually locates Jennifer's parents' home and discovers their bodies inside. Meanwhile, Jennifer continues to have nightmares about the night she was attacked. So when she wakes up, she continues in her pursuit of answers, and while Russell is in the shower, she continues to look through his things to find some clue that would help her get out of the house. She then dupes Russell into leaving and enters his computer, only to learn that the images of them together have been doctored and that he isn't actually Russell at all. When she tries to leave the house, she discovers that Russell has locked the door behind him and that she is now locked inside. She looks through a wallet and finds that her real name is Jennifer Allen, not Jennifer William. Detective Page, meanwhile, manages to find their old office, and when he talks with the people there, they tell him that Jennifer and Russell were the big office couple and that they left the office 2 months before their wedding. Detective Page is also shown pictures of them, and he saw that the Russell they know is a different person, and his name is Ryan. Then Page also learns that Ryan always had a temper, and that he had gotten in a disagreement with his supervisor and had broken his nose in 3 places, so he had been let go. The detective then asks for all the contact information. She regains some recollection of the incident, recalling that Russell was the one who assaulted her. Russell's true identity is Ryan, a co-worker of Jennifer's and the genuine Russell, who was envious of their connection. Jennifer first tries to call someone and rushes across the house trying to find a signal, but she opens the back of her phone and sees that it has been burned. She runs across the yard and ends up falling near the place where Russell was digging. She thinks she has spotted a human body, but Russell hits her in the head with a brick and takes her back to the room. When Jennifer gains consciousness, she asks him what he has done to her husband and who he is, but this makes him angry, and he chains her foot to the bed. Nurse Masters, who had been suspicious of Russell and was assisting the investigator, spots and confronts Ryan while obtaining supplies, but he rushes away. Jennifer fractures her foot, attempting to free herself from the shackles, and rushes to the garage and tries to flee in a car, but Ryan arrives home, checking on the body of the real Russell in his trunk. When Detective Page arrives, he starts an investigation, but Ryan punches him in the head. Ryan binds Jennifer to the bed with rope, telling her how much he's always loved her, how her being with Russell enraged him, and how he would have murdered her as well if it weren't for her memory loss. Jennifer manages to escape by using a lighter and hitting Ryan in the head with a vase. She dashes into the woods behind the home as Detective Page awakens and chases them down. When Ryan is ready to shoot Jennifer, Page tackles him, allowing Jennifer to seize the gun and shoot Ryan. Page is collecting his belongings and preparing to retire 3 months later. Jennifer stops by to say goodbye and thank him for everything he has done. Page hands her a note from Russell that he discovered in her office. Jennifer reads her real-life husband's love letter, which plays in a voiceover as she drives away. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and click the bell icon to get new movie recaps.